Hey y'all, hey, hope all is well with you. I am Leslie of LesAnn Creations, coming to you from One Workroom. Hooty hoo! I am back again with another sew along project. This time it is a blouse. I'm excited. Of course, I will give you a spoiler. You'll catch it. Anyway, I am going through the process of doing and working with the sleeves. I did decide to do French seams for this particular shirt for the majority of the garment. I did run into some boo-boos, and we'll talk about those. Right now, I am applying my placket to my sleeves, which I probably shouldn't have do it with a biased, excuse me, with biased, because of the stretchability of the bias tape or the bias fabric that I created. So I would not do that again, or at least if I do, I will make sure I interface it. Didn't think that part through. Applied the bias to the placket, of course, both sleeves, and now I am actually sewing it in place so it doesn't move. Now that I decided to do French seams, I'm not using pins, probably should, to put wrong sides together of the sleeves. Once I have done that, I do iron both well before I bring it back to the sewing table to sew it up. Anyway, right now I have decided to make the cuff area to be gathered. So I am applying 2 rows of basting stitch up to a 1/2 inch from the cut line. The cuff is about 3 to 3.5 inches in finished width. I'm attaching the cuff, making sure that I am keeping the ruffles going in the right direction and not being caught, which can happen. The easiest way to help ease in ruffles or fullness is to make sure that you put your ruffles towards the feed dogs. I have pulled the cuff out, and now I am actually folding it over so that I can hide a large portion of the sleeve or the raw edges. So I apply it by sewing about 2.5 to 3 inches in the same sew line, and then down the sides. By doing it this way, I actually help reduce the sewing area of the window opening that will come about from the way I sew it. If that makes no sense to you, I'm sorry. I'll explain it better. Anyway, so I, of course, do this to both sides. I did have to go back in and do a little bit more sewing because the lines weren't as straight as I liked them. Before you do excess amount of cutting, make sure you turn your project inside out and look at it. Once you do, then remove the excess fabric out of the corners so that you have a flatter look with your cuff. And that's anything that you have to turn for, whether it's a collar or a cuff. I'm applying pins in place so that I can close off my cuff. All right, making good progress. I wanted to show you a mistake that I made so I can explain how I'm going to fix it. All right, so on the hem of, you can't really see it, but on the hem of this, for some reason, I must have laid the, I didn't double check and make sure it was laid correctly because it matches at the top at the at the underarm with no problem. But it comes down here. This hem matches on the back side, but it doesn't match on the front. For some reason, I must have missed where I laid it at, so it's a little off. Not stressed about it. So I've decided because of that boo boo, I am actually going to end up creating some bias binding, and I'm going to bind the end. I'm going to actually curve it up and curve it down. It's going to be fine due to the fact that I did make it a little longer, I believe. And even if I didn't, if I wear this shirt out of a pair of pants or whatever, it'll still be cute because I'm going to bind it and it'll look good. So sometimes you got to make it work. And I'm cool with binding as well because I plan to bind the neckline as well. So it'll have some coordination to it. We have come very far within this video. Oh, thought it was on the mannequin. Anyway, so we are at a very cool point. That means almost done. So right now I am getting ready to attach my sleeve to the garment. I will be doing a binding method. And the only reason why I decided to do that is just so that it have a nice finish. If I change my mind, I may change my mind and serge it. I don't know. But I'm kind of liking the clean look because I did do French seams. Now, before I actually attach my sleeves to my garment, I am going to do the buttonholes. I do it this way because the weight of the garment, which is not always heavy, but the weight of garment can pull if your work area is not wide enough or efficient enough or something like that. By doing it this way, you get the buttonholes in and then you don't have to worry about it. Do I do it all the time? No, but majority of the time, depending on the style of shirt, I will do my buttonholes first. So, but before you actually do it on your finished garment, one problem. We're going to actually do it on a sample piece. Always test your buttonholes. You want to always test them. And of course, I can't find a zipper foot. I mean, what is it called? Whatever it's called. Anyway, so you want to go ahead and test. This is what I normally do. So I think I've decided on this clear button that has a shank toward the back because of the button that's going to be in the neck. It will work better with this button. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same buttons for all. And what I do is I will have the zip, if I ain't measured it or if it didn't come off of a card. You'll know if you have a button comes off a card, you'll know what you need to do. So I'll take a button and find another button that is at least close to the size. This one's a little bit bigger. Close to the size. Either the exact same size or a little bit bigger. And I'll use this as my guide versus using the button. Because what you don't want, if you didn't interface it, you can kind of fudge it. But when you have not interfaced it, you can fudge it. But if you have interfaced it, you can't fudge it. It's hard to fudge it. And I say that because what happens with your buttonholes, it goes to literally the size it's supposed to fit. But if you haven't taken account to the fact that, as you can tell, this button is wide too. The width of your button and actually the diameter button will affect the size buttonhole you need. Got it? So if you do not test your buttonholes before you put it on your final garment, you may be in a situation where you may have to scrap it or have to take the buttonhole out, but you've already cut it and there may be a problem. So you will have to do the binding by hand. No fun, no fun. So just go ahead. I think this one matches it. Try to find one that matches it like exactly. Oh, no, this one probably be the one. As you can tell, there's like a smidgen, probably like an eighth of a difference around the diameter of this button. It's about an eighth. So this should work perfectly for this button. So I'll do the testing. After you test, you actually open the buttonhole up to test it by cutting it open. So most machines have their own, have a buttonhole foot. I mean, there's an old school way of doing it. If you know how to do it that way. Make sure you set up your machine. If I stop yawning. Now, sometimes I will use a different color so I can see everything, but it shouldn't be a problem. So, all right, this is an all-in-one buttonhole. I'll go ahead and use a button that is about an 1/8 inch in diameter, bigger than my button I plan to use. This is a tester. Please test before you do. You don't want to have a problem in the end, okay? So this is fairly easy. Set it up, hit the button, and let it go. I know I have found some people to say that it's very intimidating, but just relax. Test it out several times to get used to it. And once I've done that, show it to you. You can't really see it, sorry. Then I go ahead and get my sleeves to put my cuff on. Now I do move in about a 1/2 inch from the edge of the cuff in order to find where I want the buttons to be. The buttonholes to be. And wherever I want them to end at, I do put my buttonhole foot, the guide, starting at that point. One day I will give y'all a much better view of this so you can kind of see it. So once I do all buttons, now I am going ahead and it's much easier to go from one end of the bar to the middle and then from the other end to the bar to the middle with a seam ripper to cut your hole if you don't have a button like button knife, which uses a block and basically a chisel. So I'll do this, check my buttons, and get the shirt together. Now we have made it to the point where I did actually do a basting stitch at the cap of my sleeve and gathered the stitches and distributed pin my sleeve in place and distributed excuse me, the gathers or the fullness at the top of my cap of my sleeve. I did end up deciding to only serge the edge. I may come back later on and bind it, but right now I don't feel like it. It looks good. The only reason why I would come back and do it is because of the weight of the fabric and worried about it pulling away. And here is the finished garment. Cuffs in place. Nice neckline. I like the fact that I actually did not do the seam down the back because the print doesn't look distorted, and it doesn't have that one spot in the very back that would drive me nuts. There is a slight buckle because I had moved my loop over too far with the top. It'll be okay. If I really am stressed about it, I will take and put a snap underneath there, but I think it'll be okay. Then I don't know if you've seen the bias binding around the hem, but I really like that. I will say the one thing I will change the next time is I will do some more measurements and make sure it's full enough. It is a little smaller at the hemline because I didn't accommodate for the change in the back seam to make sure it would fit. I didn't measure. Make sure you measure. I'm still wearing this shirt because it is so cute. I'll make sure I take a good picture so y'all can see me in it. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy it, make sure you like it. If not, still like it. But make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. Have a great one. Bye.